Hello and welcome to this short video about the OCI IAM Multi-factor Authentication support. I am Olaf Heimburger, working as a CISO advisor for the Oracle EMEA Technical Engineering team. You may have received a mail stating that your identity domain or IDCS instance has been seeded with a new sign-on policy called the Security Policy for OCI Console. This policy helps you to enforce multi-factor authentication for your local users of the OCI domains. This applies not to federated single sign-on users that use your company's single sign-on system to log into the OCI console. Let's see how an environment with a preceded sign-on policy looks like. I now switched to a default domain of a tenancy with a preceded sign-on policy. This sign-on policy can be found under the security grouping and the sign-on policies grouping. In the table, you notice that the new security policy for OCI console has been seeded but deactivated. To choose whether it should be activated, we just check the default sign-on policy and the default sign-on rule for the configuration. Is multi-factor authentication already enabled? And in the actions section, we see that a prompt for an additional factor has been configured. Any factor that will be made available is allowed. And yeah, the frequency makes sense here, and the enrollment is required. With these settings, you can safely ignore or leave the other sign-on rule deactivated. But let's check what's in the security policy. It has two rules, one for the administrators and one for all users. So the administrators should be similar like the one that we saw in the default sign-on policy, but it's a bit different. It checks also the administrator set and it specifies a factor only. So not any factor is allowed, but a specific set of factors. That is okay because Oracle enforces you to use at least 2 factors, either mobile application or a FIDO authenticator. Other factors like text messages, SMS messages are not secure, or emails may not be secure as well. And they can be misused and hijacked. For all users, we might have a similar settings. Let's see what's in there. Actually, it does not restrict the groups and nor an administrator, but the actions are essentially the same. And this allows for any other local users configured in this environment. That is superior to the default rule, and you might select this security policy instead of the default one. But we leave the default one because that's a production environment. So, as I mentioned, that the just shown environment is a production environment, you may choose the switch from the default setting, from the current setting, to the seeded setting wisely and make sure that you don't break production environments in and open or schedule for a maintenance window on that. So let's see how an enrollment for multi-factor authentication looks like. And yeah, we have a demo for that. This tenancy has been configured to enforce multi-factor authentication, and this user hasn't logged in for a while, therefore has not been enrolled for the multi-factor and logs in with his username and password, and is asked to enable secure verification. So, being instructed to do so, selecting enable secure authentication, and we see as it has been seeded in the security policy, sign-on policy, a mobile app or a FIDO authenticator like a YubiKey is available. We select the mobile authenticator, and instructions for downloading the Oracle mobile authenticator app and how to use that are displayed. This QR code works only with the Oracle mobile authenticator app, but if you have problems with that QR code, you can easily switch to the offline mode and get a different QR code. This QR code allows also other third-party authenticator apps to register for that. You can use whatever mobile authenticator app suits you. Most of them should work. To show you how the mobile authenticator operates, I switch to my mobile phone and the Oracle mobile authenticator. In that, I use the button Add Account and select the QR code. That was fairly quick. The number shown here, I have to enter in the passcode to enable the enrollment. Switching back to the login screen, I can now enter the passcode from the mobile authenticator. For quickly reasons, it is easy to wait for a while to have enough time to enter the passcode and verify it. When you're done, you are enrolled, and you continue to log into your environment, go into the domain, see the users, the groups, or even the profile of the user, and see what's in there. Under security, you will find the authenticator added in here. Well, that's my address. And you can add an additional mobile application, very much the same way as before, using the Oracle Mobile Authenticator app, or use the offline code with the different QR code, enter the passcode, and you have a second device added. A second device is always helpful if you're afraid of using your primary device, having a personal device or a second business device for that. It is also useful to add this once your device has been lost or stolen. If that is the case, the administrator of the environment can also reset the factor or generate a bypass code for you to allow you accessing this environment and drop the lost mobile app as well. With that, we switch back. In this video, I showed you two things of the multi-factor authentication. First of all, how to activate the preceded new sign-on policy, and second, how to enroll as a user for the environment. Everything that I've shown you is fully documented in the user guide for the OCI environment. And here is the link for that. You can also drill down in the page, select the cloud adoption or the security guide and select Security IAM and find everything in here. Here's also a reminder for MFA with third-party identity providers, single sign-on. You don't have to do anything in the OCI console. This applies for federated users, of course. Local users need the local MFA. That's the end of this video, and I thank you for watching this and hope it was useful and helpful.